There is a corner of your apartment, maybe a closet shelf, maybe behind the bedroom door, where the boxes live. The iPhone box, the AirPods box, that slim white rectangle from the Apple Watch you bought 18 months ago. The Dyson vacuum box, which is enormous and you know it, but somehow it is still there. You have moved them. You have reorganized around them. You have had a conversation with yourself, several conversations, about throwing them out. Maybe you got as far as carrying one to the trash, and then you put it back. The official reason is resale value. If I ever sell this, I'll need the original box. This is a reasonable thought. It is also, for most of us, completely fictional. The PlayStation 4 box you're keeping is not going anywhere. You know this. Your brain knows this. And yet, I have an original box for a speaker I no longer own. The speaker is gone. The box is still here. I choose not to examine this too closely. Here's what this video is not: a lecture about minimalism. We are not here to tell you to throw the boxes away. We are here to understand why your brain assigned them permanent residency in the first place, and why getting rid of them feels, against all logic, like losing something real. Because the boxes aren't really about resale value. They're about something your brain has been quietly managing for years. Let's start with the moment of purchase. When you buy something you genuinely wanted, a new laptop, a quality pair of headphones, a kitchen appliance you researched for 3 weeks, there is a neurological event. Dopamine floods the reward circuit. This is the acquisition high. But here's the part that gets underreported. The high is not just about the object. It's about the entire experience, the anticipation, the unboxing, the moment when the product sits in its molded tray, perfectly protected, exactly as intended. Psychologists call this the peak end rule. We don't remember experiences as averages. We remember their peaks and their endings. The unboxing is almost always a peak, which means the box itself becomes a physical record of that peak, a memory object with weight and texture. Now add loss aversion, one of the most well-replicated findings in behavioral economics. Your brain weighs losses roughly twice as heavily as equivalent gains. Throwing away the box is not perceived as neutral. It's perceived as losing something, even if that something is technically nothing. And then there's the concept of anticipated regret. Your brain is running simulations of futures that haven't happened yet. In one of them, you threw out the box, and then you needed it. The laptop screen cracked. The headphones broke under warranty. You sold the phone. In that simulation, you feel like an idiot. Your brain files that simulation under things to prevent. The box stays. So you're not being irrational. You're being perfectly, precisely rational, based on a cognitive model of risk that treats a cardboard box as load-bearing infrastructure. Here's how this actually plays out. Not in theory, in the average Tuesday of someone who owns too many boxes. Stage 1. The acquisition protocol. You open the package carefully, not frantically, carefully. You remove the product, set it aside, and then you fold the box flat, or you reassemble it neatly, or you slide the inner tray back in place. Nobody told you to do this. There was no instruction for preserve the packaging with the same attention you will give the product itself. But you did it anyway, because somewhere in the process of unboxing, the packaging absorbed some of the significance of the thing inside it. The box is no longer just a box. It is the container of an intention. Your brain doesn't fully separate them. Your brain isn't broken. It's applying the same logic it uses for a contract. The document and the agreement are not the same thing, but you keep the document. Stage 2. The closet negotiation. 6 months later, you're cleaning. You pull out the box. You hold it. You have a brief internal hearing. Prosecution argues it's taking up space. Defense argues warranty, resale, what if? The hearing adjourns without a verdict. The box goes back. This is not indecision. This is your brain accurately identifying that throwing something away is irreversible. And irreversibility triggers a disproportionate threat response. The box is fine where it is. The threat of future regret is not fine. So the calculation is simple. The cost of keeping it is near zero. The cost of regret is theoretically infinite. Keep the box. The open plan Slack office has nothing on the open plan inside of your closet, where every object is in a permanent meeting about whether it deserves to stay. Stage 3. The value proxy. Here's the part that's rarely said out loud. The original box doesn't just protect the object, it certifies it. An iPhone sold with its original box fetches more on resale markets than the same iPhone without it. Everyone who buys secondhand electronics knows this. What's interesting is that people who have no intention of ever selling their devices also know this, and it still affects their behavior. The box has become a value signal. It says, "This was a real purchase. This was taken care of. This mattered." Throw away the box, and you've done something subtle but real. You've downgraded the object from original, complete, intentional to just the thing itself. For an anxious mind that has attached meaning to the purchase, that bought this thing partly as a reward, partly as a stabilizer, partly as evidence of a decision well made, losing the box is a small but genuine demotion of the story around the purchase. Your brain isn't being precious. It's protecting a narrative it worked to build. And here's what makes this particularly interesting. The people who do this most consistently are often the ones who think of themselves as logical, analytical, low on sentimentality. The boxes are the sentimentality they didn't know they had. So what do you actually do with this information? One option is nothing. Keep the boxes. They're not hurting anyone, and now you know why they're there. But if the boxes have genuinely become a source of low-grade background stress, if every time you open the closet you feel a flicker of, "I should deal with this," there's a small reframe worth trying. Instead of asking, "Should I throw this out?" ask, "If I needed to return or resell this item, what is the realistic window?" For most consumer electronics, that window closes at 90 days. After that, the box's protective function is largely expired. The insurance policy has lapsed. This is not about forcing a decision. It's about giving your brain permission to close the loop on a file it has been holding open. Loss aversion is powerful, but it responds to updated information. If your brain genuinely believes the risk window has closed, the calculation changes. You can also photograph the box before discarding it. This sounds slightly absurd, but it works neurologically. The image serves as a proxy for the original, satisfying the documentation impulse without requiring the physical object. The record exists. The threat of total loss is neutralized. Try it once. See what happens in your chest. Because the goal isn't to throw away the boxes. The goal is to stop letting the boxes manage your anxiety for you. You're not a hoarder. You're not lazy. You're not irrationally attached to cardboard. You're someone whose brain built a system for managing uncertainty, and empty boxes became part of that system without ever being invited in. The boxes are not about the boxes. They're about the version of you that made a considered decision, spent real money, and wanted proof that it meant something. You're not keeping the boxes because you can't let go. You're keeping them because your brain never got the signal that it's safe to. What other things in your life are you keeping not because you need them, but because throwing them away would feel like erasing the story around them?